What's up, everyone?
Sup, everyone. Welcome back. All right, that was quite the
quite the live stream, wasn't it? Patch 3.3. Now, I say quite the live stream as if I'm building it up to be something, but in actuality, it was all right. Okay, it was all right. Welcome. So first, I gotta explain my light. Usually, you guys will see I have more light here on me, but bro, like our internet, not internet, but like the Wi-Fi, which is what my light is connected through, the Wi-Fi, it just completely busted. So now I can't control how dim or bright the light is. So look, I can open the light, but it literally looks like the gates of heaven is like shining upon me. Watch this. Oh, now it's gone. Wait. Oh. Yeah, it doesn't, never mind. It doesn't work. I've been trying to make it work. I'm sorry. It may look like I'm like sitting in a dark cave, but this is what we're gonna go with. I turned on the room light over here, so I got some light on the side of my face, so I don't actually just look like a ball of potato. But hope it doesn't detract too much from the stream here. You know, out here at your Walrus channel, we're not known for the quality of our streams, but yeah, without further ado, let's talk about 3.3, because 3.3, basically, let's just boil it down to this. Mono Anemo, right? Anemo Hypercarry. Anemo Hypercarry is going to become a thing, a very realistic threat to the monsters of Teyvat. Now, knee-jerk reaction aside, what do you guys think about that? So, let me collect this for you guys, right? We have Mono Geo, Mono Cryo, and now we have Mono Anemo. And we have Mono Electro. This is the fourth mono team that we can now potentially build. Well, I say mono, you don't have to play a mono. For the most part, Anemo is pretty stacked already, but you're not going to be able to utilize Viridescence in Anemo teams because you can't swirl Anemo. So now, but like, Anemo Hypercarry is a concept that I don't think was on many people's radars. Like, honestly, if you ask somebody 3-4 patches ago and you'd be like, hey, what's the next mono team you think they're gonna make? I don't think many people would have said Mono Anemo, but then Techie brought up a good point, right? Last stream, Techie was saying, well, Walrus, if you look at Pyro, if you look at Pyro, Hydro, these elements, like, they don't really need mono teams because they have incredibly powerful double scaling teams, right? They scale so well through their reactions, so they don't really need mono teams. But then they gave Cryo a mono team, and Cryo has a 2x multiplier in Melt. But at the same time, you could also say, like, well, they never fleshed out Cryo teams. Like, they never fleshed out Melt teams, right? Melt was never fully developed as a reaction that could be utilizing the meta space. I mean, yeah, there are some meta teams that are Melt based, but it's hard to argue that they were designed for that purpose, right? So, Anemo Hypercarry, very interesting. When I saw the Wanderer and Faruzan being the same element, I had like an inkling of like doubt, thinking like, no, there's no way they're gonna make an Anemo Hypercarry team, right? Like, not after all these years. Why didn't they do it earlier? But then the more I thought about it, the more this makes sense, right? And let me break this down for you guys a little bit. In my opinion, I think to Hoyoverse, they've been fleshing out Dendro so much. They've been focusing on Dendro so damn much. So 3.0, 3.1, 3.2, that's 3 patches back to back to back. They've been focusing on Dendro. They've been pretty much ignoring the other elements. Pretty much. Like, yeah, you can argue, well, it's the 4 stars. The 4 stars reinforces. But, you know, like, it's all Dendro-centric stuff, right? It's mostly Dendro-centric stuff, if not all of it. It makes sense for them to dial that back a little bit now and revitalize interest for other playstyles element. And one that, like, if you look at it, one element that has been very monotonous, meaning like monotone. And yes, Anemo is a strong element, but that's only because of, say it with me, viridescence. That's it. You guys can argue all you want, but like really the true value in Anemo up until this time is just viridescence. I mean, am I wrong? Some people would say, oh, well, you know, Swirl in of itself is great, but viridescence is what gives the entire roster of Anemo value, and that's what's so monotonous about it. Like, that's it. That's their entire gimmick. So it's interesting that HoYoverse essentially comes in now and say like, all right, guys, we're gonna take Anemo and we're gonna just bump it up a little bit, right? So, we want to bump it up a little bit, and I think HoYoverse right now likely, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. I haven't played it. I haven't looked at any of the footage, so I don't know how Scaramouche, the Wanderer, is gonna play. But I'll be very disappointed if people play him still with viridescence. I think this character is designed likely just pure damage. Like, think Ito. Pretty much Ito, but Anemo. Which means if you want this character to be insane, you're going to have to invest into constellations. You're going to need C6 Faruzan, which, oh boy, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I think that's going to be like what most people have to aim for if you want Wanderer Scaramouche to be competitive. Like, competitive as in like not against other players, but just competitive against other strong teams you currently already have built. Right? So I slap a big question mark on here, and call me a doubter. I'm just saying, I don't think Scaramouche is going to perform too well. I think at C0, free to play, he's going to do fine, but he's going to be a far cry from the kind of potential he can live up to with a simple, I say simple, but like a C1 R1 or C2 R1 plus C6 Faruzan is going to be very different from a C0 free to play Scaramouche. He's just going to be one of those characters. It's very difficult to design hyper carries and have them function at high efficiency with C0 free to play with no C6 support buffing them. It just, I can't see a world where HoYoverse makes that like a fun and playable reality. Right? I mean, chat, you're free to disagree with me. Do you guys think HoYoverse is generous enough to release a hyper carry Anemo that's basically one of a kind, along with its dedicated support and artifacts, and let you guys get away with a C0 free-to-play weapon with no C6 Faruzan and still have him be competitive to other similar characters? Especially like the one of the other reasons I think it doesn't feel likely is because they just released Nahida, and she is like the most free to play friendly character we have in the year, like this entire year, maybe even last year. Nah, we have Kazuha. It's hard to argue. It's hard to argue against last year because last year had Kazuha. So I mean, this year, just talk about this year. New characters. Nahida is like the most free to play friendly. C0 free to play. Nothing else needed. Right? I find it difficult. It's like, I think Scaramouche C0 free to play is gonna be like similar to Zhao, which is not a problem. Like, I don't think it's a problem. Like, listen, I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying, like, I'm trying to evaluate characters, like their potential, right? Their potential with certain levels of investment. I'm not saying that this is important. I mean, hell, we're talking about a video. Sorry, we're talking about a video game here, right? All this stuff, it doesn't matter, but I'm just trying to highlight the importance of, well, it doesn't make much sense for them to release a hyper carry with a dedicated support if you can get away with just playing him without a dedicated support. Now, yes, Hoyoverse has a tendency to have whale baits, which is like they'll make a character playable and enjoyable for people without having to hyper invest into them, but you know they're going to be missing a little bit here, missing a little bit there. But for the giga whales, for the spenders who want to drop, you know, like $1,200, C6 R5 plus C6 Faruzan is going to just send him like through the roof, like over the moon. That's a possibility, but I don't think I don't think Hoyoverse is gonna let you have a very comfortable time playing. Like honestly, in my opinion, C0 free to play Ito with no C6 Goro is a very like mid tier character. Like you're gonna have to put a lot of effort into optimizing stats, like because the only place you can get more power in that case is through artifacts, right? So your artifacts better be god tier and beyond for your Ito, and your team better be like stacked to the teeth, supporting, making sure he can get his burst off cooldown. Because an Ito who cannot get his burst off cooldown is just like bleeding DPS. And yes, I know it's kind of cringe for us, like, DPS optimizations, but like, it's true. If you're playing Ito, don't you want to be like this Unga Boonga Oni who's like swinging around his burst skill, as opposed to using his normal attack in his like non-burst mode and just waiting for more particles? It doesn't make sense, right? So a C0 Ito who's free to play really requires great stat optimizations to get him enough energy regen, and also likely would need his team to funnel more energy particles for him to get his burst off cooldown every time, so he can, you know, be functional. If you can at least achieve that, he's an okay character. But you know, Ito C1 C2 makes achieving that much easier. You can alleviate a lot of stress and pressure from your artifact stats to get energy regen, and your team to feed him particles and focus more on damage. And a lot of this, like a lot of these kind of minute optimizations that doesn't seem important, it's actually immensely important. Farming for artifacts is a huge task. If you farmed for like a god tier Ito artifact for a C0 Ito to get his burst back, once you get some constellation in him, those artifacts needs to be changed, because you are overstacked. You will be overstacked in energy regen. You'll have too much of it. And then you're going to have to go back and refarm it. And that could take you weeks, if not months for some people, if you're unlucky to farm, you know, a better set of artifacts that prioritize other stats. This is the reality of it, right? Like even when you're paying to win, you are losing because you have to go back and refarm your artifacts for some of these characters. Walrus, cap his ER needs are above 130 since he plays in a triple Geo team with Fab Goro. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, if you're fighting bosses, right, like some chambers in Abyss are beneficial because they have a lot more monsters, and killing them grants you energy. So a lot of times you can get away with less as long as you're killing them in one rotation, and you can get more particles back and whatnot. But if you're fighting a boss, that's where that's where I've noticed problems starts to happen. If you're fighting a single target, and Ito as a hyper carry is pretty good against bosses, and a lot of the times if you're running Goro without C6, I'll be honest with you, like without a C6, I don't know if I would even be running Goro in the team. But if you have a C6 Zoro, right, like no brainer, of course run him. But without a C6 Zoro, I don't know. I think I'll be running Ito, Albedo, Zhongli, and a 4th flex unit. I know Goro can still fit into the team. Like at that point, he's mostly just a battery. Like if you don't have C4, then he's just a battery. He doesn't really offer much more than that. Very like his impact on the team is a lot more negligible under C4. C4 at least he gives a little bit of healing. So the thing with Ito right now, like I think he's a very mid character. Like it doesn't matter. His output is just not there. At C0, free to play weapon without a C6 Goro. And of course, I'm measuring him to some of the best teams available in the game, right? Like a Hu Tao with a free to play weapon, like a. Does this even count as a free to play weapon? Where's this weapon? Hu Tao with like a Dragon's Bane. Would you guys say this is a free to play weapon? I don't know. I'm starting to feel like I want to include some, it's like a Dragon's Bane as a free to play weapon, but at the same time, people would be like, that's not fair. So I guess we can go with the Black Cliff, right? Like a Hu Tao with a Black Cliff spear, with Xingqiu, Yelan, and Zhongli out DPS, like a Ito with, I guess, use his Black Cliff, same weapon, right? Use a Black Cliff Claymore with Albedo, Goro, and Zhongli. Right? Like they're not the same tier of character. But a C6, listen, a C6 Ito versus a C6 Hu Tao with R5 for Ito's weapon and R5 for Staff of Homa and C6 Goro, Ito smashes Hu Tao like straight up, just unga. I mean, I wouldn't say smash, like, but like Ito beats her at C6 R5 with a C6 Goro. That's the difference, right? Some of these characters they scale differently because Hu Tao C6 is very Hu Tao C6 doesn't have 100% uptime. So if you're talking about nuke, like nuking, Hu Tao of course wins. But if you're talking about consistent damage, measuring DPS over a span of period, let's say a minute, Ito's gonna win. His C6 is probably one of the best in the game. He's not gonna smash Hu Tao like C6 completely out of the park, but he wins more times than not. And it's much easier to use. It has much easier application. It has less hassle, less headache, and it has better uptime. So that's the kind of character I'm comparing him to. Now, is it important to the game? No, of course not. But since we're here, since we're talking, since this is a discussion that we're having, we have to have this. We have to talk about this, right? I think Scaramouche is going to be somewhere around Ito, which from how you guys are responding, I see you guys have no problem with it. You guys are like, oh, it's fine. And if Scaramouche scales to Ito C0, we're fine with it. That's completely no problem. You know, that's a good character. And to me, it's like, that's not a good character. It's a mid character. It's okay. A good character would be like Ganyu, like Ayaka at C0. You know, like Nahida is an insane character. Maybe we shouldn't use Nahida. Maybe Zhongli, like a good character would be like C0 Zhongli. You know, that's a good character. What other characters are good at C0? Versatile, strong, reliable. Maybe Jean. Jean's pretty good at C0. Yeah, Lan's pretty good at C0. Raiden's a good, maybe even amazing character at C0, right? These are all good characters. I wouldn't go to Ito and be like, oh my god, that's a good character at C0. I mean, like, he's alright, he's okay. He's okay. Like, he's not bad. This is a bad character. This is a bad character at C0, right? I mean, Yai Miko used to be a bad character. Now she's not a bad character anymore because she has, you know, characters. This is a bad character at C0. This is a bad character at C0. There aren't that many bad 5-stars at C0, I'll be honest with you. But like even Tignari is like okay. Tignari is like around Ito's level. Maybe even a little better because this is how broken Dendro is. But yeah, there's not that many bad characters. Like Shinha's okay at C0. I wouldn't say she's amazing at C0. I wouldn't say she's bad. She's okay. She's fine. okay character. Right? I would say Ayato is an okay character. He's not amazing, like he's not breaking the game. But he's okay. He's not like revolutionizing anything, but he's good, reliable. Same with Tartaglia. Good and reliable. Ganyu is a pretty good character. Like Tartaglia is good. Tartaglia is okay. Ayato is okay. Ganyu's good. So I'm just saying, like Ito is mid. He's all right, and that's what Scaramouche is gonna be for C0 free to play. Now my question really is, how good is Scaramouche C0 R1? How big of a difference? Ito had a pretty damn big difference between a free to play weapon and his signature weapon. The stats were just that different, that insane. My C0 Ito, I ran the test. I remember my C0 Ito with his signature weapon at level 60 was outperforming my C0 Ito running an R3 level 90 Wolf's Gravestone. Just to give you guys an idea of how different of a stat it was. I remember this very clearly because I was pretty shook because I didn't think his signature weapon was going to give him that big of a boost, but yeah, apparently at level 60 for his weapon versus a level 90 R3 Wolf's Gravestone, his weapon was better. So, you know, I don't know how they're gonna be scaling Scaramouche and his weapon, but fingers crossed. Hopefully that they're gonna make Scaramouche at the worst similar to Ito. At worst, similar to Ito. And judging from how you guys have been responding, that's gonna be no problem. If that's the case, you guys are gonna be fine. Techie is saying Scarlet does not have resistance to interruption, instantly worse than Ito, but the dude is flying. He shouldn't be hit, no? Shouldn't wait a minute. Scar does not have resistance to interruption? Well, you know who would be a great fix for that? Suddenly, a certain Geodaddy comes to mind. And Zhongli's shield actually works. Like, this is the cool thing about Zhongli, right? Like, it doesn't matter. Sure, it might not be the most optimal DPS-wise. If you run Zhongli, you don't even need a healer on your team. Like, you don't even need healers if you have Zhongli. And he gives out resistance shred. And since you can't use Viridescence now, guess who's the best shred in the game? You can't use... Hey, where's your Viridescence now? Huh? Where's the Viridescence now? Can't Viridescence shred anymore, right? Now guess who has the best shred in the game? Geodaddy, that 20% looking real juicy now, doesn't it? Actually, I would just assume we're going to be running Faruzan with, I'll make a new team. So let's use Zhao as stand-in. So this is my Scaramouche. I'm gonna be running Scaramouche with my Faruzan. Where's my Faruzan? Here's my Faruzan. Who's gonna be my third Anemo? If we're running Zhongli in the 4th slot, let's imagine Zhongli, like, you know, we got Zhongli here in the 4th slot. Who's gonna be our third character? Does Scaramouche scale off of attack? Bennett? Would Bennett work? No. I think Scaramouche moves too much. Can Scaramouche snapshot? I don't even know. Like Scaramouche, Faruzan, Bennett, Zhongli, Albedo. Yeah, Albedo is a great choice. Holy sh! Yeah. Like this could be a great team, right? You got double Anemo, double Geo, very solid team. Cookie for reactions? Would you want 2 elements that can swirl for Scara buff? Are you guys talking about Viridescence Scaramouche with like an elemental support DPS, so then Viridescence shreds the support. So like this is your thought process, right? Since Scaramouche is on field, you guys just get like a strong off-field character like Fischl, and then you just swirl. You just use Viridescence to swirl Electro, and then you have Zhongli, another 20%. Then Fischl's gonna be dealing massive off-field damage through Electro, and then you have Faruzan buffing what's his name, Scaramouche, like that. Oh, he needs reactions. Nope, he is a booster with elements. No VV needed. Right, they were saying something about that in his thing, right? Swirl Xiangling for Xiangling's Pyronado, but the thing is, Scaramouche, doesn't he have like a lot of verticality to his playstyle? Would you just be foregoing that? Then why even run Scaramouche at that point? No, I know you guys are trying to like push the best overall DPS team. I'm trying to make Scaramouche shine. Listen. We have a very fundamental difference in our approach here. My goal here is to make sure Scaramouche can do his thing. I don't like, sure, he might lose out on the potential damage if he's not like, but like let's just first focus on making Scaramouche the shining gem, right? To make sure Scaramouche has everything he needs to deal as much damage from him in there. Like, if we want the most damage from Scaramouche, is this not one of the best teams? Scar Hypercarrier is still worse than other Hypercarrier teams like Hu Tao and Ayaka. Well, that sucks. He has to be the centerpiece if you pull for him. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, why pull for Scaramouche to run like a Nemo driver international, like international team? Then why the hell are you even pulling for him? I don't know, like, it just feels kind of counterproductive. It's like you can slap a Sucrose here and run an international team too. No, like that team already exists and it's pretty fire. You want a cryo for 20% crit rate? Instead of Layla, why don't, like, I don't know. So I would, like, honestly, I feel Diona is just better. Like, yeah, I think Diona is better because Diona can heal. And then Faruzan, where's Faruzan? Just grab a random, like this? No, like, because then we'll have overlapping for healing. Like, this is just inefficient. Are you guys saying blah 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 blah? Oh, what about Klee? Remember Faruzan, or was it Scaramouche? I think it was Faruzan. Faruzan can shoot, Klee's bombs can be collected by Faruzan. Huh? Huh? I bet nobody's thinking thinking about this. Xingqiu or Yalan. Now the thing is, does Scaramouche's attacks in his like wind form, does it proc Yalan's I'm assuming, if you guys are saying Yalan or Xingqiu, I'm assuming it does. This is such a wacky team. This is such a wacky team, honestly. If you're gonna say, somebody was saying Rosaria for more crit rate and then just like stack an insane amount of crit damage, why not just Ganyu? Like Ganyu is pretty good. So that it becomes like a double cryo, double Anemo team. And you can like oh, what is Faruzan gonna run? I don't know. Without Viridescence, you're kind of losing out on 40% cryo shred for Ganyu's burst skill. Ganyu's burst skill can have 100% uptime. You can have her raining down icicles the whole time, like permanently. Ganyu doesn't have crit rate buff? What do you mean? We're going for the double cryo. Oh my. Oh, or affected by cryo. Yeah, increase crit rate against opponents that are frozen or affected by cryo. Ganyu will give you 100% cryo application. 100% cryo application. Permanent. They'll be permanently affected by cryo. Scara can have 2 buffs from passive active at one time. I suggest 2 different elements. Yeah, if you want to ooze out more, then it's going to be a pyro. Who's going to be the best pyro? I was looking at Klee half as a meme, but like the more I look at it, the more she makes sense, you know? A lot of people will be like, Xiangling, but Xiangling without Bennett is going to be quite hungry for particles, and I don't know how consistently you're going to be able to hit the enemy with Xiangling's burst, because Scaramouche is going to be flying all over the place, but that also makes it very easy to reposition yourself to make sure make sure Xiangling's burst can hit. And if you run Xiangling with like so for example, if you run Xiangling with an ER Sands, if you run her here with the ER Sands and then run an ER weapon, I think you should be fine. Diona likely then needs to be running a Favonius bow to charge for. So Favonius bow, and I don't know, Faruzan likely, if I'm running Xiangling, I would probably throw a Favonius Codex on Faruzan, so then you'll have 2 fab weapons plus Xiangling's own energy regen weapon plus Xiangling's energy recharge sands, and then you just go crazy for Scaramouche. I don't know. Hey, I don't know. You have a shielder and healer, should be fine. Should be fine. Like, and Xiangling should be able to use her burst on off cooldown. Xiangling burst doesn't follow him in midair. What? What does that mean? Xiangling burst doesn't follow him in midair. What happens to her burst? Does it just disappear when you fly up? It stays on the ground, but it stays, right? Xiangling's burst will be on the ground but follows him. Wait, that's broken. Wait, that's broken. Wait, that's amazing. No, like, think about it. Like, you can actually position yourself strategically to be pretty much like in melee range of the monsters, but you're up there. Well, I mean, it's not broken, but like it's pretty neat. Because then you don't have to worry about verticality. Like, you can go as high as you want. The burst, Xiangling's burst is still gonna hit them regardless. Yeah, because like one of my biggest worries was like, oh, what if you go too high to avoid mob damage, and then Xiangling's burst is just going to waste, spinning around you up in the air, right? But if her burst stays at ground level, you can do whatever the hell you want. Like, you can be Spider-Man. Right, like the thing about Xiangling is that you're gonna be missing out on damage from Xiangling herself, but we're not running Xiangling for pure damage this time. We're running Xiangling for that, what was it, 20% attack, or was it 20 flat attack? I think 20% attack, right? For Scaramouche. Plus Xiangling has insane off-field damage, and then we're running Diona for some shielding, for some healing. Because we're just like, our goal here is to power up Scaramouche. Like, listen, chat. I don't want to play the game like, oh my god, international. Like, dude, I'm so freaking sick of international and these like traditional teams. Like, I got Raiden national. I got Raiden hypercarry. I don't need these like perfectly optimized teams. If I want to play perfectly optimized, I would never pull for any new characters. Why am I pulling for new characters if I just want to play perfectly optimized meta teams? Right? I want to pull Scaramouche so I can see the man like just go to work. I want to see the man get the job done. That's why I'm pulling for Scaramouche, right? Like, let's be honest, Scaramouche is likely not going to top the charge. Scaramouche is not going to beat the current meta. He's not going to reinvent the meta. It's not going to happen. He's just going to be another 5-star that's like good-ish. So why not have some fun? Why not just try to see if you can actually push Scaramouche to the point where he's good and viable and can carry your runs through like for a 36-star Abyss run at C0 as a free-to-play. Maybe he can. Maybe he can't. Right? Maybe it's a skill issue. Because Scara National, I don't know how good it is, but I doubt it's going to be better than all the Nationals we have right now. There's a ton of National variants, and they're all really good. But, like, another character comes out, and we just play another variant of National. Another character comes out, we just play another variant of that National. And there's one true national team, which is, like, the best national team. That's the best one. Everything else is just copium trying to make your favorite character work, but unfortunately you have to lean on the crutch of national. And surprise, surprise, do you think it's the character that's making national good, or it's national making the character good? Right? Are you really playing that character, or are you just playing national? I'm just saying. Scar doesn't have interruption resist when flying. Well, we have a shielder, right? Like, we have a shielder. I hope this is gonna help him a little bit, but who knows? Pyro increased 30%. 30% attack? %30 attack seems like a big buff, but then we also have to take into account what Scaramouche's base attack is. Like, if he has like shit base attack, then 30% isn't gonna be that much. I mean, currently, I don't know. Having is the 30% attack more important, or an extra 15% crit rate? I'll leave that to you guys. Actually, here's my question to you guys. Do you guys value 30% attack more, or another 15% crit rate? Because if we run a pyro, if we run a 4th pyro, we can get that 30% attack. But if we run a 2nd cryo, where's Ganyu? Oh, if we run a 2nd cryo, we get that 15% crit rate. Right? Then our Scaramouche probably can straight up just run a crit damage headpiece and still have like maybe 60% crit rate, maybe. Right? So yeah, 15% crit rate from cryo resonance, plus 20% crit rate from the cryo infusion buff. Yeah. So That's 35% right there. You only really need around 25%. Yeah, you need 25% from your artifacts, which isn't too difficult. I'll be honest with you guys, even without a headpiece, it's not too difficult. Right? So, didn't his weapon also scale off of, didn't his weapon's substat was crit damage, right? He ascends with crit rate? Yeah, that easy. Easy, yeah. Run double cryo, and you'll get like 70% crit rate. Wait, his weapon gives crit rate or crit damage? I thought his weapon was crit damage. We saw it in the live stream. Yeah, then weapons and crit damage, he ascends with crit. Oh my goodness. Yeah, he's going to be at 70% with a crit damage circlet. Like, this guy's going to have like 75% crit rate with this team, like with the double cryo. He's going to have 75% crit rate and like 240 crit damage if you get his weapon. If you don't have his weapon, then probably more like 180 crit damage, which is insane. 70% crit rate with 180 crit damage. You're going to be critting like all day. Uh, I think it's pretty interesting how people are gonna take Scaramouche, especially him being Anemo. You can actually play him in some very like you can actually try him in a lot of different weird non-meta teams. Playing him with Viridescence as a driver is gonna be very sad for Scaramouche, but hey, it's like I can see people doing it. Basically using Scaramouche to supercharge the rest of the team, right? Having like a Ganyu, having Bennett, and then a Xiangling or some weird crap like that, and then you're just gonna go with Scaramouche, Viridescence, and then make Xiangling even more crazy, and then you're gonna have Ganyu in there melting, and then Scaramouche is gonna be like doing his thing, and then you're also gonna have the Pyro buff and the Cryo buff, so 20%, 30%, 20% crit rate, and then 30% what's the attack. Like, he's gonna do okay damage, like I can imagine, but he's not gonna be anything amazing. Mostly it's gonna be the shining star in that team is gonna be it's gonna be Xiangling, and then you can do like an electro variant, right? It's just it's weird, but like I know people are gonna do it because they can. Do you guys see what I'm saying? People will do this shit not because they want to, but because they can. And Anemo enables so many different variations of playstyles with different elements. As long as you can infuse it, as long as you can swirl it, you can do whatever the hell you want. Quite frankly, I think I think it's a good thing that that Hoyoverse is releasing a character like Scaramouche. Anemo Hypercarry, like it's definitely a fun concept. It's more fun than Geo Hypercarry. Like Mono Geo is I'll be the first. I won't be the first, and I certainly won't be the last one to say it. Is very damn boring. Mono Geo. No, really, because like at the very least, Anemo can swirl, and swirl is actually a very consistent and dynamic way to play the game. What the hell is crystallized, man? I mean, like, look at people now. With people are talking about Scaramouche National. Why didn't we try Ito National? Does Ito National even work? I'm sure it does. I'm sure anything works with National. Like, put Ito. Actually, no, it doesn't. It doesn't. Because Ito's burst cannot proc Xingqiu. Wait, can it proc Xingqiu? I know it cannot proc Yelan. Oh, this is tragic. Maybe Ito National doesn't work. That is Yeah, because E2 is a charge attack unit. Oh, well then. Yeah, but like you guys get my point, right? Like it's fun. It's fun to think about things like this. Where's Albedo? Where's my Albedo? There it is. There you go. All right, now we got our traditional Hu Tao. We got Ayaka. What the hell is this? Oh no. I need Shenhe in here. I was like, that doesn't look quite right. We got my Freeze. We got Yoimiya's team. We got Raiden Hyper Carry. This is one of my personal favorites. Super Cryo. We got. Wait, didn't we have this already? Okay, this is one of my personal favorites as well right now. Love this team to death. Yeah. Tartaglia, Mr. Worldwide, and then this is gonna be the Scaramouche team. I love this team. I think this is probably, if you guys want me to rank strength and fun, this team would be very, very high up on my list. I mean, not like the best team, but this team can probably, if you invest into this team, you can probably 36 star with this team pretty consistently, I would say. Very and this team has very little, like very big margins for error is what I'm trying to say. Like it's not like you have to perfectly sequence through all the skills and cooldowns to like and then like, oh, you gotta like make sure to use them in this order or else you mess up. No, it doesn't matter. it really doesn't matter how you play this team. As long as you have Nahida's E on them, just go ham, do whatever the hell you want, and things are just gonna start dying. And fun. I honestly think people keep saying Kaching is very boring, but I think like that's just because people don't know the combos with Kaching. If you guys know like a couple combos with Kaching, she starts feeling a lot more dynamic of a character. I know I keep saying this like dynamic, but what I mean by dynamic, it just means like there's variations to her playstyle, right? Especially like with the elemental skill that's so flexible, like you can drop it off anywhere you want, and you can do so like, and it has a delay time, and then you can then go back, and the distance is always fixed between her dash towards her I feel like I'm doing Kaching classes again, but you know, when you dash back, there's two AoEs. If you have her, I believe it's her C1, that thing explodes, and you also deal AoE damage on wherever you end up arriving. Let me double check what constellation it was. I believe it was C1. Yeah, her C1. So Kaching is at the start point and terminus of her blink. It's too clean of a character. I'm just telling you guys, man. Like Kaching was only bad because of her damage scaling and her team potentials. But if you look at her kit, she's much more complex of a character than Diluc, in my opinion. Because Diluc, sure, you guys will be like, but Diluc has Dragon Strike. Dragon Strike is not boring and easy. Yeah, I know. Kaching also had some very sophisticated mechanics back in the day, but they patched it out because I don't know why. It wasn't even like it was doing a lot of extra damage. Dragon Strike literally gives like Diluc what? Fucking 40-50% extra damage. Is Dragon Strike still in the game? Like, no, like is Dragon Strike still in the game? Like I don't like listen, I don't get why they keep Dragon Strike in the game, but then they removed Kaching's like there was one of Kaching's combos, not combos, but like animation cancel, which was like pretty cool and neat. It was back in like version 1 point something, and people were talking about this Kaching animation cancel something. It was like you get her E out and then you can like E twice or something like that. Like yeah, it was a little bit of extra damage, but it wasn't game breaking. It wasn't like as much as Dragon Strike. But like, but then Dragon Strike is still in the game, but then they immediately patched out Kaching's mechanic. I don't know. I'm biased. But I think Kaching, out of all the original characters, Kaching and Mona probably have the most diverse playstyle and variations. They're just more interesting characters, in my opinion, compared to these three. D-Luke was strong because of his pyro nature and because of Vaporize Melt, whatever. Jean is Jean is a solid, well-rounded character overall. She does a great job at like what she's supposed to do, and she actually enables a lot of very interesting teams through Anemo and whatnot. But hella boring, vanilla. Jean is very vanilla. I know Kaching is probably not the most diverse character, but I just think Kaching is more fun. I think Kaching is more fun, and I wouldn't have re-rolled a Kaching account and start playing the game with Kaching if I didn't think she was fun and cool, right? Devin Amanda says Warriors use Hu Tao, Nahida, Xingqiu, and Zhongli. This team, give it a try. I don't know, man. Whenever I see Hu Tao, it's very difficult for me to switch her off her original team because her original team, this team is just so damn disgusting. I call it Wang Shen and Friends. I love this team. This is a great team. Stats, synergy, coverage, everything you want. Have it. Strongest 1v1 character in the game? Are we talking about C6? C6 R5? If all characters are C6 R5, strongest 1v1. Strongest 1v1. Are we talking canonically or game-wise? Because I feel like canonically, Zhongli might be one of the strongest, if not the strongest 1v1 characters. But if you're talking about in-game, Yelan is just busted. The thing is, Yelan has a lot of mobility, right? So, here, I'll show you. Right? If you have to 1v1 a Yelan, what are you going to do with this? Like, she can open every fight with this. What are you going to do? Like, how are you gonna fight that? How are you gonna counter that? Like like you get 3, 2, 1, fight. Like what? And the thing is, that skill CCs you. That skill CCs you. If you get caught in this skill, like if you get touched by, you're just so much grazed by this skill. Once she exits it, you get knocked up, and then she immediately. If she uses her burst, the fight's done. Before you even land on the ground, the fight's over. You can't do anything. The only character that I think can counter this is if the fight starts, you use Zhongli and you immediately throw on the shield. And she cannot CC you. She gets resistance, and you can use your pillar to block her arrows. So if she try to shoot you, you use your pillars to block arrows, and then you just wear her down like that because she can't heal, right? So if you have C6 Zhongli, you can heal. Your burst skill gives you another thing, and then you can use the pillars to dodge her arrow. And then you just do this, and then you just summon another pillar. And then you just run around, and then she can't get close. She doesn't do any damage to you, and then you just keep recycling your shield, and then over time you wear her down because she can't heal, and you heal through C6. Like, hey, call me a pussy, but I'm gonna get that dub. I'm winning. That's how I would fight. Like that's why I say like it's a pretty big toss up between Zhongli and Yelan, because Yelan is basically all in on offense, but she has a utility and and elusiveness with their elemental skill. Like anybody who chooses any other character is just gonna get clapped. Like you can't, you just can't. Like, what character can consistently shatter Zhongli's shield with one hit? Maybe like Raiden, but Raiden is literally like a one-hit wonder. You use her burst, you can't win the fight, you're dead. You lose. Right? Like who's gonna beat Zhongli in a 1v1? Maybe Ganyu, but like really? You're gonna try to wind up your charge shots? I guess Ayaka wouldn't be too bad in a 1v1, right? You're very elusive as well. And then you can knock up with your elemental skill, but then like that, like the thing is Zhongli can ignore that. The thing is, you can't CC Zhongli means you can never combo Zhongli. You know what? I think Zhongli might be the best 1v1 character. I think Zhongli might be the best. Zhongli hits like a wet noodle. Yeah, try taking his burst to your face though. And you get CC'd. Remember, Ray, my taquitos, remember, if you get hit by Zhongli CC, you get hit by his meteor, you get CC'd for like what, 6 seconds or some, you get CC'd for like ever, and then he drops a, and then he just needs to drop a pillar. Like Zhongli doesn't nuke, remember, like he doesn't nuke you that hard. Even his burst won't like nuke you for like 1,000,000 damage, but he drops the meteor on you. You're CC'd for like 1,000,000,000 years. How? I have a C4 by additional 2 seconds. What's his burst right now? His petrification 3.8. So yeah, 6 seconds. You get petrified for 6 seconds in a 1v1. He'll drop the meteor on you. He gets the shield after the meteor hits, regardless if it hits you. He drops this thing, and then he can at least do this to you and wear you down. Remember, unless you're like Kokomi or something like that, you have no ways to heal back the damage. I guess a fight between Zhongli and Kokomi would just never end. I guess if Zhongli fights Kokomi in a 1v1, the fight would never end. Because Zhongli can never do enough damage to kill Kokomi to the point where she can't heal back her damage. And the Kokomi can just, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Those normal attacks ain't do nothing. Yeah, but against a character that can never heal, every bit of damage is something, right? Whereas Zhongli heals with his C6 through his shield, and he'll always have his shield as long as he plays properly. Stalemates. That's why PvP in Genshin doesn't make much sense, because basically all these characters' kits have to be rescaled and retuned to PvP. It just doesn't make sense. I don't think Genshin was ever designed to be a PvP game. And it's great Hoyoverse doesn't have to worry about that, because imagine if a character gets released and they have to worry about like PvE and PvP. Right. It's just going to put a lot of strain on the dev team into matters that shouldn't be that important. Walrus, will Raiden rerun sell better than Scara? I don't know. How many people still need Raiden? I think since Raiden's last rerun, maybe a couple 100,000 people have joined the game. Maybe like what, 200,000-300,000? When was Raiden's last rerun? So like, and out of those people, how many people are going to actually try to go for Raiden? Versus how many current... I think Scara is going to sell better. If you think about it mathematically, I don't know. I think Scara is going to sell better. I think Scara just has a little too much hype behind the character, and that's what I'm worried about. Every time a character is this exciting and people have been waiting for a long time, they find a way to screw it up. Also, C0 Raiden is extremely good now thanks to Nahida, but the thing is, C0 Raiden versus like C0 Keqing, like C0 Keqing is not, because of Nahida, the distance between Keqing and Raiden has actually short, like the gap between them has reduced. Not saying C0 Keqing is competitive with C0 Raiden, but I'm just saying that these two characters have both found a new meaning. Hard to tell which phase will do better since Ayato Raiden is a nasty combo. Honestly, I think my money is on Scaramouche. I think pure blind hype is gonna win over the logistics of like, oh my goodness, Raiden's so good, I must have her. I think pure blind hype right now for Scaramouche is probably at an all-time high. But then again, like, did you guys notice how weird his burst looked? Like the stomping animation? Like the way they animated his burst skill looked very yeah, it looked kind of yikes, man. Like that angle, like, it just made him look kind of goofy. I don't know. It just made it like all these other characters have these like cool, amazing, like it just highlights their best qualities and makes them look like it just amplifies their like that burst made Scaramouche look kind of childish because like he's got the super short shorts, like he's like in preschool or elementary school, right? Like, and then he's like stomping on it, and it makes him look like a character from Toy Stories. No, like, no, really, like I just imagine him as a character from Toy Stories when I see him like that. Yeah, like, no, like his shorts are like elementary school kid shorts. Like have you guys seen some uniforms, like elementary school uniforms? It's just, it's lit like this, like this is literally Scaramouche. This is Scaramouche's shorts. He's a kid. Like, he's a child. like, like what you mean? Like you cannot tell me, you look at this and tell me that's not what Scaramouche's entire outfit was based on. He's a freaking damn child, and that burst animation doesn't do it any justice. I'm just telling, it just makes it look worse. Like like he's a kid. I was hoping they would go a different direction. I was hoping they were gonna go more towards like the Yai Miko direction, like showing like sinister or it's like maybe a lingering evil or something that's still hidden within him or something, like, I don't know, like not some me want pasta, not meatballs, tantrum. I don't know. It looks like he was throwing a tantrum and stomping on his toys. It just feels forced. Yeah, it felt a little forced. I don't know. I wasn't feeling his burst skill. I'm not gonna lie. I actually went back and looked at it afterwards. I was like, God damn, that looks bad. Walrus, they even adjusted his burst animation for it to not look that goofy. His previous burst animation was looking at his... Come on, man. I don't know. Why couldn't they have the... Why couldn't it be like this? Why couldn't he come up to the camera and like grab your face and then all you see is like his hand like grabbing onto your face like that, just like you see his eyes glow and like immediately he comes in and grabs your face and like up like that and then smashes you to the ground. Why couldn't it be something like that, right? Like why you gotta like make me look at him from like below looking up at his like freaking boy shorts and have him step on me? Like, that's... Come on, man. I was like, you know, I was hoping for something like a Rasengan in your face type deal. But hey, you know what? That's the one we got. That's the one we got. I just gotta close my eyes every time he uses his burst. Scar is a child of a child, so I see nothing wrong with this burst. I mean, sure, canonically, maybe they were going for that childish vibe. He has a Rasengan on his feet. I mean, I'm done harping on him. I think he's gonna be. I think he's gonna be good. I think he's gonna be. People are gonna be super excited for him. Scaramouche fans wanted him to step on them, and they delivered, and I hate that. God damn it! Why did people want him to step on them? Why did they gotta even bring that up? Jabba, please, please, Jabba, you've been playing with that squeak toy girl for the last like 50 years. It feels like. Please give me some peace and quiet. Please. I'll throw in 2 extra treats in your food next time. Scary me. Jabba, please. Have our negotiations fallen through? Do you deny Daddy's Oh no, please. I was gonna record a video with you guys, but like, Jabba's just like, you will know fear today. You will have no peace and quiet. Hu Tao is sad because left out. Yeah. Why wasn't Hu Tao in the event? That's so true. Yo, thanks for reminding me. I was like, the whole thing about the Inazuma, like some sort of festival, like test your courage festival, like how was Hu Tao left out of it? When was the last time Hu Tao even had a rerun? I think instead of Ayato, we should have had a Hu Tao rerun. Or is Hu Tao Raiden Shogun too good of a rerun banner? Would that be too good of a rerun banner? If instead of Ayato they put Hu Tao and Raiden Shogun, and then the weapons were Raiden's engulfing lightning and Staff of Homa. Oh my god, that might just do it. That banner might do it. Yeah, I think that banner might just straight up reclaim the top from too good of banner, especially for free-to-plays and new players, right? Imagine getting Hu Tao and getting Raiden. You have basically the centerpieces for the 2 best teams in the game. Unlucky. Yeah, maybe it was just because the banner was too good. Then and so they couldn't bring Hu Tao in. We're gonna take out loans. Yeah, like, yo, we're maxing out the... Because you can't lose on that weapon banner either. You get either Engulfing Lightning or you get Staff of Homa. You can't lose. Yeah, it's too good. You're right. Yeah, that's why they left Hu Tao out of the event. You lose with Engulfing Lightning? Not really, because Engulfing Lightning is still... Refinement 1 Engulfing Lightning is still better than Refinement 5 Catch. So, like, if you don't have an Engulfing Lightning, you will get a damage boost for your Raiden. And on top of that, you're going to be getting potentially Raiden Constellations, and you, like, a lot of people might end up getting, like, a boost in Raiden from C0 to C2 on top of that, like, Engulfing Lightning over their Catch. That's a huge jump. So yeah, that's why they didn't do it. Obviously, I guess now that you guys point that out, makes sense. Miss Splitter and Homa. Wait, is Raiden's weapon not Engulfing Lightning? I'm pretty sure Raiden's weapon is called Engulfing Lightning. No? Yeah, why are people saying Mist Splitter? Mist Splitter is Ayaka's weapon, no? Ayaka's weapon is called Mist Splitter. Nope, not this one. Yeah, Mist Splitter. Yeah. Wait, if Raiden is coming back, Engulfing Lightning is coming back, and then Ayato's weapon, right? Ooh, I don't have Ayato's weapon, but I don't play Ayato that much. Even though I have him leveled up, you know, like my guy is doing fine. I got him 185, right? But I don't have his weapon. You see? I don't have his weapon. But I do have the Engulfing Lightning. And at worst, I can get a random weapon and an Engulfing Lightning. I don't know. Engulfing Lightning, what's the refinement to? Let's see. Increase attack by another 7%, and then you can gain a maximum bonus of 90, so another 10% attack bonus. Gain 35% energy recharge for 12 seconds after using. Oh, not bad. Not bad. But I don't think it's really worth it. Don't think it's worth it. Nah, probably gonna skip the weapon banner. I don't know. I'm actually debating if I want to even go for Scaramouche's weapon. I do have a where's my catalyst? So for catalyst weapons, I do have Nahida's and Skyward Atlas, and I even have Solar Pearl, but I don't want to run, like now knowing Scaramouche, I don't want to run Solar Pearl for him. Skyward Atlas, I don't know. I might just bend the knee and get him his weapon. Just cause like look, my catalyst weapon category is actually very, very sad. I don't have much. No, I really don't have much when it comes to catalyst. So I might bite the bullet and just get Scaramouche's weapon. I believe the most I have is in the spear category. 4, 5, 6, 7. Spear and swords I have. Oh no, bows. I have a lot of bows as well. Not as much as the spears. What about the swords? What about my swords? I think my spears are number 1. Yeah. Spears. Spears number 1, bow number 2, and then swords number 3. And I have a double over here. So technically I only have 4 swords. Yeah, catalysts are really just, what's the other one? Great swords, right? Great swords. I don't think I have that many either. Have a couple. I have a few. Not that many. I basically have like one limited one. Like, see, like this is how far I went for Ito in the beginning. I thought like he was a really cool character, but he just got very boring. And this is one of the things I fear for mono carry teams. It's just like they get very repetitive. But it seems like Scaramouche has a lot of variations to his playstyle. But yeah, my Claymores is a little bit better than my Catalyst. What do you guys think? Should I get, like, do you guys think I should get Scaramouche's weapon or not? Taking the virus is Walrus. How do you spend so much on units and not crown them or level most of them to level 90? Well, okay. To answer that question is, for the most part, I want to keep the investments I put into my characters equalized, because when I talk about characters, I want to talk to you guys about characters from a perspective of like, okay, I invested into them mostly equally. One of the things I don't do, and you guys can choose to believe me or not, is I do not resin refill. I do not spend Primo Gems to resin refill every day. Okay, I don't do that. So the amount of resources I get compared to a lot of the other whale content creators is like, I get much less resources. So in turn, I spend my resources very sparingly. I only take, oh, how come I can't see their levels? Huh. How did I see their levels again? think it was like somewhere here. Yeah, I only take characters to level 90 that I really enjoy playing, right? That I use a lot. So case in point being Zhongli, Huta, Ayaka. These are some of the characters I use a lot. I took them all to level 90. Level 70 characters are characters that functions fine at this level. Let's not talk about this guy because yeah, let's just not talk about. I was pretty disappointed. Or characters that I find that okay, I've already realized their potential and I know like okay, leveling up more is just a little more damage. It's not going to make that big of a difference. Characters that I think are decent, I level up to level 80. For most part, I have them all at talent level 8 for their priority talents. I don't even 8 all their talents because that's just a waste of resources. For example, like why would I level up Yoimiya's burst, for example, to talent level 8, right? Like it's not that important. Why would I level up Yaimiko's auto attack to talent level 8? Why would I level up Kazuha's auto attack to talent level 8, right? Stuff like that. Same with like why would I level Nahida's normal attacks level 8, right? So overall, I that's how I've done it. Most of the characters I've poured in a similar amount of resources, and that's why like when I have a gripe with a certain character, it's usually because I put in so damn much for this character just for them to perform at a similar level to another character that I put like half of that. Well, Cyro needs to be level 90 to optimize his damage. How can you say he is bad without maximizing his aggravate damage? Because I tried him on another account, and I know what he's like at that point, and I'm just like, okay, I don't want to pour that much resources into him just to get something kind of okay, you know, like it's a very tough decision for me because like I invested into him and his weapon, and yeah, he was a disappointment. Like, and I saw his potential, and I was just like, you know what? I don't feel like grinding more beetles just to get him to that level. Level 70 Venti hurts me. Yeah, but Venti doesn't need any more. Why does Venti need any more than level 70? Like, I even regret getting Kazuha to level 80. I think like these characters, like Venti and Kazuha should stay at level 60. And like they can do their job just fine. Like, sure, you guys be like, oh, but you're not getting the most damage out of them, but I don't need it. I'm 36 starring the Abyss without it. So why don't I take that resource and put it into a future character? You see, you guys start to catch my drift? Is that like I'm not min-maxing every single character because I don't need to min-max every single character. I push characters to a point where I feel like they're good enough, and then I move on. You're losing 30% of the damage from level 80 to 90. Yeah, but like you see, level 80 to level 90 is an immense amount of resource investment, both for like ascension material as well as for talent books, Mora. For somebody who pulls every single character, I pull for every single character. Like it just doesn't make sense to level 90 everyone without me resin refreshing to get additional resources, right? Does that make sense? And since I don't resin refresh to get more Mora EXP books, and I'm also 36 starring the Abyss, pretty much like effortlessly. Last time you guys saw me, it took me 2 tries, and I 36 started. Right? Like, it doesn't make much sense for me to pour that much resource just to get every character to level 90, and right? Yeah, it's like, I can't maximize every character to level 90 like the second they drop with their talents all leveled up to like 10 10 10 or something like that, to like without wailing. Like it's just, and for what? Like there are people out there who are already doing this stuff, right? Like I don't need to do it. I think it's very excessive, and I don't enjoy every character. Like I said, I invested into Ito as well. I don't even play him anymore. I invested into Sino and his weapon. I don't even play him anymore. I got Ayato invested. Don't play him anymore. You see? So nowadays, I get them. If I like them, I'll probably get them to level 80, get their talent levels to something 8 and 6 maybe. Like their priority talent is always level 8. And then I put them in a good team, and then I try them out and stuff like that. But one of the main reasons I don't invest into every single character is because they're not worth it. Like they're not worth my time to invest into them and pour that much resource into them. There are characters that give me a lot of fun while also being extremely strong that I've already invested into, and I have variations. I have many different options here. Look, like I mean, I have all the options in the game. Like Nilou was good, but I played her on you guys know him on Shukai's account. I played Nilou on Shukai's account, and I found her to be fun. Yeah, but I enjoy Kaching Dendro more. So I've been playing Kaching Dendro more, and I was like, okay, I don't even need to level up Nilou, at least not now. Maybe in the future, if I see a need to level her up, I'll level her up, because I know what she can perform. Like, I know what a level 90 Nilou feels like with Nahida, right? So, but I don't see a purpose, and that's why I don't do it right now. Have you enjoyed playing Yelan, ignoring her damage potential? Yeah, I think Yelan is great. Look. Here's another thing that probably will get people a little pissed off. Her bow, I left it at level 70. You see, like, why do I need to level it to level 90? The amount of resources, like I'm 36 starring people, like Hu Tao is crushing the abyss with, like, she does enough. It's like, okay, that's not a lot of resources. That's still resources. That's still time invested. I can spend that time doing other stuff. Like, for example, right now, I've been playing Pokemon Scarlet, which is the superior version. I've been playing Pokemon Scarlet. Or I would have spent an extra, like, an hour or two grinding out the Aqua Simulacra, which I don't need. I don't need it at level 90. I don't. Like, it's a waste. It's actually waste. I don't like excessively investing into character. That's why, okay, maybe through this, you guys can understand why my hate for Raiden C0 was so damn high, and why I made videos talking about this character. I have, like, I'll say it to the day I quit this game, I have never farmed for another character more than Raiden in this game. Never. She is the most expensive character I had grinded for. And even then, at C0, she was just like, okay. At C0, she was like a utility damage hybrid, functioning the best in Raiden National, because she can supercharge Xingqiu, Bennett, and Xiangling. Her damage, like the damage coming from herself, is like not competitive at all to other like damage carry oriented carries, like damage oriented carries like Ayaka, Hu Tao. Like, if you're just evaluating Raiden's damage at C0, yeah, she's doo-doo compared to actual damage carries. But the value she brought was the fact that she could, you know, supercharge the rest of her team, blah blah blah. I get that. But do you guys know how much resources I poured just to get her to a point where I felt her damage was comfortable enough, while also like balancing out all her stats to make sure, you know, enough energy recharge was like being funneled back into the team, and making sure everybody, it was a nightmare. It was an absolute nightmare. I like, maybe you guys enjoy it. Maybe you guys find like, oh my god, my Raiden National is so cracked. Aha, look at the big damage, permanent uptime for burst skills. You guys enjoy that? That's perfectly fine. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying, to me, Raiden C0 is only viable because like you guys throw her in National, and National makes everything viable. Like we even talked about Ito. Like, National makes Ito viable. Like, I can make National Jin Yan viable. You guys understand me? Right? I can make National Toma viable. National is broken. It's like, you know, it's just Raiden National is good because she helps them get better uptime. That's literally just it, right? And saying anything more than that is just copium. I stand by that to the day I die. Okay, but Raiden C2 is just a freaking nutty ass character that's imbalanced. Like, that's not balanced. It's not normal. She shouldn't be getting this much power at C2. Hey, Jabba, what are you doing? What are you doing? Digging through garbage? Garbage girl? How about Hyper Bloom Raiden? Yeah, but Hyper Bloom Raiden didn't exist back then, right? Like the virus says, she's not a damage-oriented unit. She's that's what I just said. And also, you saying like she has enough damage to clear the game. That's a very very bad take. We don't need to don't go down this rabbit hole. I have seen people clear the game with Chi-Chi, DPS Chi-Chi, right? Like Chi-Chi has enough damage to clear the game. I'm talking about relative to other characters. You guys have to understand, right? The argument falls apart when I say like, oh yeah, but I can make Barbara, I can clear the game with Barbara, I can clear the game with Aloy, but how much resource do you have to put into these characters to clear the game? I'm talking about input versus output. Input versus output. How much did I put in versus how much I'm getting out? Like one of the main reasons why Kazuha and Venti are so damn good is like you literally get them to level 60 Ascension 4, throw in like a 4-piece Viridescence, level 1 4-piece Viridescence, and all of a sudden you get 40% resistance shred. Listen, you guys don't like, I could probably bring a level 1 Venti with Viridescence and he's doing like half of the job he's supposed to be doing just because of that. Like I'm putting almost nothing in this character. You guys understand how like that's very little input, extremely high output. Raiden is a character that's like extremely high input with pretty like fairly high output. Okay? You guys see what I'm saying, right? And if you just put a little more into Kazuha and Venti, then you put a moderate amount of input with extreme amounts of output. This is the kind of ratio we're talking about. It's about input versus output. You guys can't sit here and just say like, oh yeah, but Raiden is like, yeah, but like we're talking about input, output, input, output. That's all I think about when I invest into characters and play characters because like I said, if you guys don't take into account input versus output, then suddenly Barbara DPS becomes super amazing. Amber becomes a top tier character. Everybody is just broken beyond belief, right? Cryo Zhongli is insane. Like Jin Yan is like insane because you don't care about input versus output. Like I could just dump like 1 million resin into Jin Yan and get like the most perfect artifacts, get like the best weapons and put a whole cracked team of support characters all behind her and then like clear the game. Be like, look, Jin Yan's broken, right? We can't evaluate like that. That's why I keep asking you guys, when you guys talk about characters, when you guys evaluate characters, I ask you, like, think about how much you've put into a character versus how much. And I understand ceilings matter. Jin Yan's ceiling is nowhere near Raiden's ceiling, especially like with constellations involved, right? But then of course we have to take into account teammates and stuff like that. But then it's because the threshold is so damn low. The threshold for measurement is can they 36 star the Abyss. Every character can 36 star the Abyss. That's why Genshin is very problematic, is there's nowhere you can go to measure a character's true ceiling. Because the frickin' like, it's like you have a scale that only goes up to 25 pounds and suddenly everybody tips the scale. Every person who stands on the scale is like, oh, well, you're overweight, well, you're overweight, well, you're overweight, well, you're overweight. Right? It's because the scale only measures 25 pounds. This is the same situation with Genshin. The measurement, the cap for the measurement is so damn low that everybody is like breaking the barrier here. Does that make sense? So it's very difficult for us to use Spiral Bits to say like, well, I can clear the game just fine. But everyone can do that. Everyone can do that. Right? So that's why I always look towards input output. Always looking about input versus output. That's the only, I think, in my opinion, the only way you can actually kind of understand how a character performs. Now, of course, that's not perfect because, like I said, a character like Raiden has a much higher ceiling like a character like Xin Yan, right? So that's why you have to look at relatively similar characters. Raiden's carry, like Raiden's role was like a driver essentially in national teams, right? So you got to look at other drivers. Look at Tartaglia, right? Look at Kokomi could be played as a driver, and even as a driver, Raiden was like not like like she wasn't topping the charts as a driver. The other driver teams were functioning just as good. So then like suddenly then like, okay, if other teams function just as good, what's the point of getting Raiden? I'll tell you what was the point of getting Raiden. The point of getting Raiden was for her vertical progression ceiling, because her ceiling in her constellations is so much higher. So investing into Raiden pretty much means that you will continue investing into Raiden until you reach that soft cap ceiling, which is her C2. Once you reach that, then all that investment suddenly starts paying dividends. Like it's an accumulated investment into this character that makes her worthwhile. Yes, her C0 is good. So is Tartaglia. So is Kokomi, right? So is Ito. So is Yaimiko. So is Kazuha. So is Ayato, Diluc. Like a lot of these characters are good. But Raiden's ceiling is high. Right? That's why over time you're going to be able to reach that ceiling, hit that soft cap, and suddenly she takes like a mile step ahead of a lot of these other characters. Not only is she a great driver, she's also the best on-field DPS available. Like burst, she has great burst, great sustain. She also supercharges. Like that's where the value is at, right? I don't think like. I mean, I think you guys think C0 Raiden is absolutely nutty ass broken, but she's really not. At C0, I'll say it, she's a mid character at C0. Like she's good-ish, but she's just alright. She's just alright. C0 Raiden is one of the most overhyped characters in the game. That's what I believe. She's just all right. She's C0. I think, I don't know. I think C0 Zhongli is more versatile than her. Dark FTL's byworlds, you just eat it yourself. I've been saying this for a long ass time. A lot of people disagree with me on this, but they're just extremely copium. I don't think C0 Raiden Shogun is S tier. C0 Raiden hit for who tells C0 crits for 130k per charge attack, bro? What do you mean? Like, dude, there's free-to-play Hu Tao's critting with a free-to-play weapon at C0 for 130k. What do you mean? Right, like if you're talking, like that's why I say don't talk damage when you're talking about C0 Raiden, because C0 Raiden is not competitive at all in the damage department. She is not. She gets clapped. She gets clapped by a lot of other damage-oriented carries. And then you'll start saying, but you know, she does 250k first slash, and she like supercharges her team, and then her team does right? That's what people's first response would be, right? Then okay, so you have to bring in her utility features, right? Just for her to stay competitive with the damage that she's obviously lacking, right? So what part was I wrong in saying that Raiden can only be justified because she does decent damage with her utility combined supercharging the rest of her team, which is a bunch of the most broken support DPSs in the game to help her achieve an on-field damage that is acceptable and very flexible at that, right? And of course, because of Raiden, their uptime becomes very good. And because Raiden does decent damage, then suddenly she's justified. Tech the Virus says, Theory Crafting already proved Hypercarry C0 Raiden is amazing. Go to Kaching main. This is why I don't look at Theory Crafter, right? Because Theory Crafter looks at performance. I'm talking about input, versus output. They don't care about input versus output. They can dump like 1 million into this and but their ceiling is high. Raiden has a decent ceiling, and national team is insane. Okay, national team is insane. And if you're talking hyper carry Raiden at C0, then we're also talking about a C6 Sara, right? Unless you're saying hyper carry Raiden without a C6 Sara with Viridescence. That would be interesting to look at, right? But if you're talking hyper carry Raiden at C0, you're still talking about a C6 Sara with like a Sucrose at the very least, a Viridescent support. I don't think. Listen, I would take at C0. I would take a Hu Tao over a hyper carry Raiden at C0. I think Hu Tao is more consistent. Hyper carry Raiden, if you don't crit on that first hit, well, guess what? Restart the chamber, do it again. Right? If you get it right, I think she can be good. But I don't think hyper carry Raiden is that amazing of a unit at C0. Because you're gonna have to, because Hu Tao doesn't need a C6, right? At C0. Like Hu Tao at C0 doesn't need a hyper care like a dedicated support. She needs a synergy through Hydro through Xingqiu or Yalan. Preferably both. Back then it was Xingqiu, Yalan, Albedo, and then Zhongli. They can all be C0. Hu Tao was gonna get the job done. So like you see, like I don't see the point. It's just you give them the ideal investment, then like okay, like C0 Ito with a C6 Goro suddenly becomes a pretty good hyper carry team too. In fact, you guys were saying C0 Ito with a free to play weapon without a C6 Goro was a good enough team, right? So you don't even need C6 Sara. Raiden, Sara, Kazuha, Benny are very strong all at C0. Okay, Techie. Here's my question to you. Do you think Raiden C0, Bennett C1, Sara like C0, C1, and then who was the last one? Kazuha does more damage than the Hu Tao team? Hu Tao, Xingqiu, Yalan, Zhongli. Like, honestly, do you think that team beats the Hu Tao team? Well, I guess you would say that's unfair because the Hu Tao team has an extra 5-star. Right? Like, if you're telling me that team beats the Hu Tao team, that is hard cap. Like, you're capping so hard, it's like you're like bending backwards. There's no way. Because that Hu Tao team I just mentioned can deal up to like 1.3 million damage in her one infusion. It's like an 8 charge attack or 9 charge attacks if you can animation cancel perfectly. Right? Tech the Bias is, I'm not saying that you don't have to discredit Raiden to credit Hu Tao. No, but what I'm saying is, why would I run that team? Why? Then I don't need to run that team, do I? Because you guys, right, you're talking about optimization. Why would I run that team? There's already a better team available. That's not the best team. That's not like she loses in that direct comparison, right? And she also loses to Ayaka too. So it's like you can't sit here and say like, oh, for Scaramouche you gotta play this and that and like to be optimized and then you come here and tell me, oh my god, you don't need to discredit, like you don't need to play that optimally to get the best team. Well then, which one's right? Are we just sitting here saying she can beat the game, she does good damage, she's okay, she's like top 5 in the game, suddenly, you know, she's amazing? Right? We can't pick and choose this logic whenever we feel like it fits the narrative. Right now, she loses. I don't think Raiden Hypercarry at C0 is even top 5 in the game for C0 carries. She's not even in the conversation, bro. When it comes to like C0 carries. She has amazing potential. I don't deny her potential. Right? But it's incredibly copium. Like, she's amazing. Like, when it comes to overall team damage, maybe Raiden National can compete. I think Raiden National is one of the best free-to-play teams available, because the investments you're putting into Raiden will pay off eventually as you scale her vertically more into her hyper carry teams. You're investing into Bennett, Xingqiu, and Xiangling to get her national team up and going. And those 3 characters can be flexed into like a billion other teams. Super great investment. That's why Raiden National is worthwhile, worth your time and investment, because all of them are some of the best investments you can make in the game, both short-term, mid-term, long-term, period. A lot of the value I put towards Raiden National Team is because of how good of an investment it is for your overall account. Not that like that team is the end all be all of your account. Do you understand? Right? If your end goal of the game is Raiden National, oh boy, have you like really lost sight of what Genshin has to offer. I think Raiden National should be like, if you're trying to be optimal in Genshin, like if you come in like, oh, I want the best available, you should always start with Raiden National plus another alternative team that you love to play. Raiden National is one of the best free-to-play teams, and not because like it does insane damage, best damage in the game. No, it's for the reason I said prior, right? All starters, if you want to be perfectly optimal, get yourself a Raiden National and scale up from there. That's the key to being optimized as a free-to-play. Okay? And then once you have the basis for national, you, like we said earlier, you literally can play like 5 different national variant. And once you skill Raiden up to C2, she can go to another team and she becomes a dedicated carry. And that she can lift her entire team, pull her own weight, and like compete on a playing field with most, if not all, damage-oriented carries, even though she's still a utility carry. That's what's so freaking broken about that character. Once her damage can start competing with damage-oriented carries, then her utility pulls her like far, far beyond, because then she can justify the time she's on field. If not, she can even demand it. And then she can also supercharge the rest of her team, making sure everything has permanent uptime. And then you can even be a little greedy with your team's, with your support DPS's artifact stats, because Raiden can fill up some of that extra energy regen. They can be greedy, they can build more damage, and that does more damage, right? That's also the basis for Raiden National Team at C0, is you can be greedy because Raiden isn't on your team. That's the thing she's always offered. It doesn't change. But it's copium to say C0 Raiden is busted. Not busted. It's not. It really isn't. At least that's what I think, right? You guys are still free to disagree. Like, but from my experience, how I play, you guys are only looking at the final product. I'm looking at the journey to get to the final product. And I see your point as well. You guys are saying, oh, but input is different for everybody. You can get lucky, right? You can spend a week farming for Raiden and you're done. But statistically, it's very difficult because Raiden has so many stats she needs to prioritize and balance. Energy regen, attack percentage, and electro damage. Right? You need to balance all 3 of these to a somewhat optimized degree. And on top of that, crit rate and crit damage. It's incredibly difficult to fine-tune Raiden's main and substats. It's just like she's like one of the only characters. I can't even, like, off the top of my head, I can't think of another character who wants to balance 3 stats on top of crit rate, crit damage to a level where she's an optimized on-field DPS. Because if you have too much attack, you're going to be missing out on like energy regen. Then you're not taking advantage of her amazing passive. If you don't have enough electro damage, or you don't have enough ER, and you want to switch to attack cup, then you're losing out on the electro damage percentage, right? So it's just Raiden is like a constant like 3-way tug of war, and if you don't get that right, you're bleeding damage, especially at C0, where you don't have the luxury of ignoring 60% of the enemy's defense. She's quite the tough cookie to crack, really, at C0. And listen, if it wasn't for a lot of like theory crafters, I'm not trying to discredit theory crafters. I think the work they do in the community is very valuable. Without them, a lot of the free-to-plays, their Raiden C0s will be incredibly suboptimal. Right? Like, it's just... This is when you guys go too far and say like, oh my god, C0 Raiden, like, best in the game, like, SSS tier character. I think C0 Raiden is, like, very close to S tier. Very, very close. But not quite there. Not in my book. But then again, that's just my opinion. Okay, just my opinion. Okay. So, we're gonna wrap this up with the video for 3.3 and Scaramouche. I want to really highlight on Scaramouche and the Mono Geo. I mean, Geo Hyper Carry is about to arrive in the game. I'm sure a lot of people are gonna be happy for Zhao at the very least. I think people who are skipping Scaramouche likely will just continue building their Zhao, and I do think Zhao is getting a respectable facelift, a complete facelift, maybe not, but respectable. You called her mid like a few minutes ago. Now she's close to S tier. Well, to shoot her down a peg, I call her mid. Because to hit home my point, I have to call her mid. But realistically, she's like really high on the A tier list. Like, who would be right behind her? I think she's still better. She's like better than Ganyu. I think she's above Ganyu and right below Hu Tao. I think Hu Tao is like probably the best A tier character. Like, if I were to, like, off the top of my head, that's roughly where, like, I think Hu Tao is probably the best A tier character, and then sits Raiden, and then sits Ganyu. And then the worst S tier character, like the absolute worst S tier character, who sits above Hu Tao right now, probably Zhongli. Something like that. Like, Zhongli would be like just sitting at the edge of S tier. Hu Tao is at the top of A tier, followed by Raiden, followed by Ganyu. Something like that. So she's a good character, right? She's a good character, but I can't put her into S tier at C0. This is a C. If this is a C0 tier list, if this is like an optimized tier list, she's like top 3 or 4 character in the game. Like optimized constellation, meaning Zhongli likely at C2, Hu Tao at C1, Ganyu, I don't know, Ganyu probably still at C0 if we're being completely honest. Nahida at C2, stuff like that. Then yeah, Raiden is top 4 characters, maybe top 3 even in the entire game. She beats Zhongli. Zhongli is probably still barely like in the S tier. Yelan is probably Yelan at C0. If you guys ask me right now, Yelan at C0, oh boy. Yelan at C0 is somewhere behind Ganyu. Okay? Maybe S tier. I don't know. Don't ask me tier list questions off the top of my head. It's very, very difficult to get jumbled. But it's hard to put Yelan in S tier because nowadays I don't even think Xingqiu deserves S tier because you actually see him in a couple teams. It's tough. It's tough. I don't know. Would Yelan and Xingqiu be S tier? Because if I put Xingqiu in S tier, does Yelan deserve that? Xingqiu actually have damage mitigation properties. Yelan does not. Yelan is just pure damage, C0. I don't know. It's hard for me to say. Because, okay, listen, chat, listen. before Yelan came out, I think Xingqiu was S tier because he's irreplaceable. All right, listen. Because now Xingqiu and Yelan both exist, you now have options. They're two separate characters. I think because they lose exclusivity, they drop in value. Does that make sense? It's like if you have a one of a kind thing in the world, that thing is worth a lot, right? But what if you had a second one? Like you had two, then they both devalue. Does that make sense? So it's like it's hard for me to put Xingqiu into S tier because now I have Yelan, and it just because of her existence, it's a little more flexible. But it's hard to deny that their purpose in the game and their utility is just out of this world. It's amazing, right? Like apart from them, no one else can really do what they kind of do. So like in that regards, you could say like, well, you know, maybe they're just slightly above Zhongli, like sitting in S tier because of how, and they have great synergies with each other. Listen, don't ask me tier list questions. I'm not known in the community for giving you guys amazing tier lists because of my very self-centered, like personalized experience with the game makes it so that my tier list is a little too skewed to my personal experience. I can admit to that much. C1 Hu Tao or Yelan? I think C1 Hu Tao is better. I think C0 Yelan is amazing. Are we going to make a community tier list? Remember the last time we made a community tier list? Like, people ripped that to shreds as well. People were going after you guys' opinions as well. Listen, you can't really make a tier list in this community without getting, like, shit on unless you, like, make a tier list with some of the most recognized theory crafters. Like, if you sit down with Zajev, Ziox, and what's her name again? The girl who makes guides, Sevi plays, and like maybe some other like an X Slice. Yeah, 1010. You sit down with these 5 people and you make a tier list like publicly together on stream or maybe on a podcast, and you spend like 3 hours and meticulously putting characters on it. Only then would the vast majority of the community be like, okay, that's a good tier list, best tier list out there. Yeah, great tier list. But even then, there will be people saying like, no. It's like you never win making tier lists. Walrus making a tier list with them. I've made several tier lists in the past, and they've all gotten a lot of attention. It mostly from people like just losing their minds over like one character being like 3 places too low, or like 2 characters should be swapping places. People act, no, not gonna lie, I'm not the biggest content creators in the space, but every time I've made a tier list, like people have lost their shit. People have lost their minds. And honestly, it's not even like that bad. It's not like I'm putting Xingqiu in B tier and like Zhongli in C tier. It's just sometimes people think like a character deserves a certain spot, and my reasoning for them not being in that spot really ticks people off. But yeah, we've taken too much time, sidetracked it about meta. Laura, so you're saying your right intake is a personal thing because TC's... I've never said it's not. All of this is personal. That's why I welcome you guys to challenge what I say, because this is all personal. This is from my personal experience. I never said, like, listen, nothing I say is definitive statements about how things are. I'm saying how I perceive them to be. Like, in my opinion, Raiden is like a high A tier character, in my opinion. Okay? And listen, I think theory crafters put her in S tier because they subconsciously include her potential for growth in her assessment, right? If Raiden didn't have that growth at her C2, I don't think theory crafters would put her at S tier. That's my like take. Like that's what I think, right? But I don't know. I put her at A tier because I'm solely evaluating her at C0. But I don't know. I don't know. Solely just looking at her as a C0 character, I put her in like high A tier. But Maybe they're just like, she's a great character and she has great room to grow. S tier, amazing character, great investment. Okay. Mono Anemo. Let's talk about it. Sups up everyone, welcome to another video. We are here today after the live stream. We've given ourselves a long enough time to cool down. Oh my goodness, Jabba. I have to take her squeak toy and hide it. Hide it. I have to hide her squeak toy for now. I'll give it back later. Speaking of Jabba, do you guys want to see my cat? She's getting she got her surgery, and she's getting a shower tonight. Oh. This is the squeaker you guys have been hearing for the last Well then, our heater almost exploded. Okay, Jabba, come here. Good girl. Good girl. Ooh. 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 Yes, this is Jabba. She is definitely S tier. She's SS tier. Woo! Oh, very good, very good. Very good. I have to record a video. So she's getting pets, she's getting attention, she loves it. SFS for distraction. Yes, you were. Oh, yes, you were. Ooh. Oh, look, she's tucked away in my armpit. Very good. Okay, Jub. I will be recording a video. Do you think you can stay calm for 10 minutes? 10 minutes? And I'll give you a jerky after. Oh, if you can do it. Jerky after. Okay. Good girl. Go to mommy. Go annoy mommy. Go jump on mommy. Okay. We is back. Oh, is that your cat behind you? Oh yeah. That's Michi. That's our firstborn. That's the eldest. He's the first child. And then we have the middle child, which who cares? And then we have the baby who gets babied. Oh, she wants more chat. What do I do? What do I do? Pet. Pet. Okay. Let's see if I can get this video over. Recorded with before oh, you're so cute. Before I lose all my concentration here. Okay. Sups up everyone, welcome back to another video. So we are just a little over, how long has it been? 24, 30 hours after the 3.3 live stream. Giving myself enough time to cool down. Like, not talking from hype at least anymore. I mean, let's be honest, Scaramouche is a character a lot of people have been waiting for a very, very long time. He's been introduced in the story even in like patch 1 point something, right? Like since we first met Mona or something, when he first appeared on that cliffside with that very sinister vibe. And I think a lot of people would say, like, oh my goodness, he's my guy, he's my husbando. But, you know, taking a step back, if you look and evaluate Scaramouche and now his role in the game, he's not Electro, he's Anemo, and he's being released with a dedicated Anemo support. Now, first things first, people would be like, oh my goodness, it's so unfair, right? Scaramouche coming out with his own Anemo support. What about Zhao? What about Zhao? So I think Scaramouche's release, I don't know because I don't look at leaks and I don't have access to the test server for the content creators. But it's... Jumper, 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 no, 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 no. Okay, mommy will be holding her. Okay. Where was I? Chat. What was I saying? Let's go back. Let's rewind and see what was I saying so I can continue. Rewind and see what was I. Very long time. He's been introduced in the story even in like patch 1.6 with that import. Now, first things first, because I don't look at leaks and it's I don't know because I don't look at leaks and I don't have access to the test server for the content creators. But it's okay. So I was saying I don't have access. I don't have access to the test servers. Okay, let's continue. But it doesn't take a genius to line up two dots, right? To say that, well, we have Faruzan. Like, let's just not look at Scaramouche yet. Let's not look at Scaramouche yet. Let's look at Faruzan. We have Faruzan, a dedicated Anemo support. It seems to support Anemo carries. Interesting. So, who's another Anemo carry that is not Scaramouche, right? Zhao. So, after all these years, I'm happy to say at least we have an Anemo support that could be paired with Zhao. Now, their synergies, I don't know. But I would imagine HoYoverse did not completely forget our guy Zhao in the dust, right? In the trash bin, and actually thought about him when, okay, we're designing an Anemo support. So what's a great way to revitalize an old characters and maybe drive up some of his sales? Maybe if people in the future comes out and really enjoys a character like Zhao, there's a reason to pull for Zhao. Because we now have a dedicated Anemo support. Now, because we have an Anemo support, this also potentially means that mono Anemo teams or Anemo-based hypercarry teams are going to start making their way into the game. Now, are they going to be meta? Are they going to be game-shattering? Who knows, right? Because when we talk about this stuff, it makes more sense and it is more relevant to talk about this at C0, which brings us now to Scaramouche. Do you guys think, like, this is an honest question too, I've asked people in chat already here on my live stream, that do you think HoYoverse is going to release Scaramouche in a state where even at C0, Scaramouche is going to be functioning optimally, going to feel comfortable to play, going to be dishing out competitive levels of damage? When I say competitive, it's like, well, you're a hypercarry, right? Like, you should be dealing competitive hypercarry levels of damage, similar to Ito, similar to maybe even Zhao with Faruzan. Are you going to be around the same output as Zhao with Faruzan? Or are you going to be power creeping Zhao with Faruzan? Right? Being in a character that's released like a year and a half, maybe like closer to 2 years, well, not 2 years, right? Maybe a year and 8 months, 9 months, give or take. After Zhao's release, will HoYoverse introduce anything new to Scaramouche's kit that statistically power creeps Zhao? Because let's be honest, the one thing I can say, even like without, like, let's be honest, nobody needs to look at leaks to know that likely Scaramouche is going to be power creeping Zhao in the constellations department, because we've had characters that were released one patch after Zhao that already power creeped his constellations, right? So I think vertical scaling wise, Scaramouche is going to be the stronger carry over Zhao. Like, it's just, you can't avoid it. He has a modern kit. He has a modern constellation design. He's coming out with his signature artifacts as well. So, like, I don't know how well these artifacts are going to be performing on Zhao, but if they're like a 10-15% increase over his already existing artifact set, it makes it incredibly difficult for people to justify going in and spending months to grind it. Maybe at the end of the day, Zhao is just going to share the same artifact set as Scaramouche, right? You're just going to, every time you want to play Zhao, switch it over. Every time you want to play Scaramouche, switch it back. And then suddenly Zhao and Scaramouche becomes this interchange Anemo hypercarry brethrens who, you know, share the same team. But at the same time, Scaramouche also seems a lot more flexible than Zhao because of how he applies Anemo. Like, Scaramouche is like Zhao, but on steroids. Like, the man can go up, down, left, right, and he floats and he can hover, and then he, like, whereas Zhao just go up, down, up, down, up, down, right? There's very little control you have to Zhao's movements. It's like, it's all fixed distance with very little variance. Like, some people would be like, oh, well, you know, I can make Zhao jump shorter. Oh, instead of this high, I can make him jump this high, which, sure, I guess, but you're never going to reach the level of finesse that Scaramouche has with his mobility control. So at the end of the day, I do think that Scaramouche is going to be overall a better character. Now, I don't want to scream power creep, power creep, power creep, because I think that each of these characters have their own charm. But I think it would be foolish of us to say that Zhao is still going to be able to keep up with Scaramouche in all departments with no, like, glaring weaknesses, because that's Zhao compared to Ito, who was released like I think at this point a year ago, or maybe even longer. Zhao was already like severely outdated compared to Ito's kit design. I'm not talking about damage, okay? I'm talking about kit design. So as hopium as I want to be, as optimistic I want to be, yes, there are good things to take away, but I think this is a step in the right direction overall for Anemo, because right now Anemo is just too centralized on Viridescent supports, and that's like their one true identity. And being able to branch away from that into Scaramouche with his own dedicated artifact, with his own dedicated Anemo support, would shed some light into Anemo being able to function outside of being support oriented. And also with Dendro being now such a strong support element, and Dendro, for the most part, don't want much to do with Anemo, it's great to break away from the mold and introduce something new, breathe some life into this element apart from just like, look at me, I can make you do more damage. How about maybe for a second, take a step back and let me take the spotlight and shine, right? Hopefully, Scaramouche could be a dedicated on-field carry that deals great damage, and we can finally have some, you know, light green numbers on screen that are just looking very bold and satisfying. Looking forward to it. I'm certainly going to be building Scaramouche. I think this is a great opportunity to once again revisit the Anemo carry options, and you can bet I'm going to try my best to make Zhao feel better. Although I think damage-wise, nobody was ever really complaining about it. But we'll see. Maybe some extra zeros on his plunge attacks. Maybe that's going to change something. Maybe people are going to suddenly feel like, wow, you know, he's a new character. Suddenly it all makes sense. But most likely not. What do you guys think, though? How excited are you for Scaramouche? I'm going to say his burst skill doesn't really look that enticing. Honestly, it looks like a like a spoiled brat. Okay. I think chat agree with me, and I think chat agrees with me, and that actually apparently fits the narrative of his character and design. Whatever. I'm done arguing with chat today. Maybe for another day. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'm excited for 3.3, not just because of Scaramouche and the revitalization of Anemo, but also for the TCG. It's actually more complex than I initially thought it was going to be, so that's also a good thing, by the way. Looking forward to it. Stay tuned. Lots more content coming your way when it comes to 3.3. All right, till then, urge you all to stay safe. Peace. Bye bye. Okay. Jabba. Very good job. Are you gonna get a beef jerky for that? I saw mommy's arms were about to get torn off just trying to hold you back. Is that true? Very good. Very good, Jabba. Very good. You gave mommy a good workout. Brooms. Scaramouche ass shot makes me want to. I can't say it, but you know, you guys can read it. God damn, was it that bad? Oh, okay. And Jabba's crazy. Jabba's going crazy. Atrix says you can either buff Zhao's own damage or have another unit dealing damage alongside him. They're both viable. We'll see. We'll see. I think it's pretty copium to think that Zhao is going to have an incredible facelift. But having a dedicated Anemo support, like currently in Zhao's teams, we have like Zhao, Xingqiu, or something like Zhao, some sort of support DPS, Xingqiu official, and then you have like Albedo and Zhongli, something like that, right? That's what most Zhao teams are comprised of. At least that's what I'm thinking. So, like, who are you gonna drop? Like, who are you gonna drop to fit that Anemo support in there? And what's gonna be? How different is it gonna be? This is stuff. Like, this is what I say. Like, we don't have enough slots. A lot of the times, these characters are already slotted pretty optimally. And having these new characters come in, you're gonna have to change your rotations. You're gonna have to change a lot of things to make them work. So we'll see. Okay, we'll see. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much. I mean, not video. That's going to be it for this stream. Had a pretty heated argument back and forth. I mean, always down to argue with you guys respectfully. But, you know, hope you guys don't take it too seriously. It's just a video game. We are entitled to our own opinions. You can say, you know, Raiden is SSS tier. You can say Raiden is B tier, you know. It's okay to have a wrong opinion. Anyways, till next time, urge you all to stay safe. Peace, peace. Bye-bye.